Question 1282. If your spouse went to prison, would you leave them immediately?
Depends what they went to prison for.
I thought that when I read the question. In general, I'm going to have to go with... If they murdered the next door neighbour.
Seeing as I don't like my neighbors, probably not.
Again, depending on the context of why they killed them.
Yeah, you need more context than that, Dave. Was it self-defense?
No.
Premeditated?
Yes.
Bye.
I don't know. They criticised your bottom.
I'm standing by my woman forever. You hear me?
When I was in high school,
my ass.
When I was in high school, one of the cheerleaders' father murdered their mother.
Ooh.
And nobody talked to the father ever again. And that seems like a fairly reasonable response.
Yes, I don't disagree. Catnip?
I don't know. Like, I don't like my neighbors, but I also don't approve of murder. So it's kind of like...
You think that's slightly a step too far?
Yeah, I mean, we could just burn their house down. We didn't have to kill them. Wait for them to go to work and then burn their house down.
Yeah, but they could have got. You could be going.
You're still going to jail. You're just only going to jail for.
Yeah, you realize if their house burns down now, this will probably come up as evidence in court.
You will cease.
This is the problem. Today, you knock on their door and run away. Tomorrow, it's murder. That's what's the sticky blow.
One day it's Halloween. The next day it's murder.
Murder.
Spooky says.
No.
Spooky says no. Never Again says no, and he didn't even though I told him to. Depends on the neighbour. Titan Uranus says if my hands went to prison, I'd go with them. Very good. Never Again says still depends on the neighbour. Pio says the answer is I can't leave someone who already left me. Linda says nope, not leaving. Yandiri says yes. Jess says no. Chad says no. All other things being equal, if they were still the person I married. Jen.
Well, yeah. Look, if it's premeditated and there wasn't the damn good reason, or they hadn't had a mental breakdown or something like that, yeah, then I probably would lead them because they're not the person I thought they were.
Yeah.
So at that point, I would probably leave them. But if there was something else, there was some mitigating thing, like they'd had some weird breakdown and they needed help, and in which case they probably wouldn't go to prison.
Okay, actually, I have an interesting and much better real life example.
Okay.
What if it's one of the Australian soldiers that were caught killing civilians?
What?
Yeah, this actually happened.
In Afghanistan, but the way I wouldn't necessarily blame the soldiers, but it's an interesting thing. In a war zone, as part of the macho thing, the structure they built up, there were Australian soldiers, and there were probably other countries. I'm fairly certain the UK's done it as well, but it's very in the news. Yeah. So that's your husband. He comes home, and you find out several years later he gets sent to prison for killing civilians in Afghanistan.
As a sport, basically.
Yeah.
I don't want to say as a sport, but I definitely want to say
hazing.
Hazing, potentially, yes.
Hazing. Basically,
I'd walk away from that dude in a minute.
This particular set of soldiers made it an induction right to being in Afghanistan. So, no, I would leave somebody who did that because that's not the person I marry, as far as I'm concerned. That they hid something from me about.
But they very much have been emotionally manipulated into that scenario.
Yeah, I wouldn't marry somebody who went into the military anyway.
So forget jail.
Actually, that's dreadful because I did marry an ex-soldier, so yeah.
You're rethinking my life decisions. Being married
the
to
worst
an
thing is,
active
here's the worst
military
thing.
person.
I thought I only remembered that what had happened because I looked at the two of you.
My father was in the military.
Was he hazed?
I wouldn't
In
marry
Afghanistan.
him. Anyways,
You
but-
thought about that happening in Australia because you looked at me.
Because I looked at you and Catnip.
I mean, that's fair.
9 o'clock hero brings up an interesting point. How long in prison?
Well, I think we're talking about 10 years, at least. Godless Sewing says immediately. Never Again says, just for the record, I didn't kill anyone either. Never Again says, well, I did marry a Vietnam vet, and he certainly killed people who may not have deserved it. But I think... Oh, lost Sam. I think may not have deserved it in the heat of the moment is one thing.
Or if you're ordered to do it.
Yes.
That's entirely different to you doing it when you know you're not ordered to and you know these people are civilians. No, I wouldn't stay with someone like did that.
Catnip? It's not the
Well-
neighbour you don't like anymore.
I'm talking all hypothetical. I don't think I could, in good conscience, stay with someone who murdered someone for no other reason than just because. Why not?
Yeah.
I'd be worried that I'd be next. I mean, I got a mouth on me.
Well,
Fuck's sake.
exactly. That's a big part of it too.
Well, see, my only concern is that that in that case that the kid would be in jeopardy. Because if I die, well, whatever. I'm not really concerned about that. I have no concern for me. Let's make sure the kid's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you should have concern for you. You have a right to live as much as anyone else. You know, and if you have a spouse that could potentially knock you off, I'd not want to see you in that environment.
Yes. Sam?
I
Did you hear
wouldn't
this
want to
latest
see-
scenario?
Sorry, I was away when I came back. I'd accidentally unplugged my charger on the way out, so my laptop had died, so it's put back in.
We can't hear you virtually at all.
Sam, it's gone really bad now.
Fuck.
Down.
1 sec.
Right. Jeff.
Is this any better?
Oh, Jesus, no.
Are you on a computer or a phone or something?
Laptop.
Did he say laptop?
I don't know. It says he's muted as well. That's the really weird thing. I think we're going to have to skip Sam. Brainbug says, I signed a non-disclosure that prevents me from answering this one. Never Again says, we quickly learned to disagree and never attack. We had our personal self-control. That was PTSD. It was bad. And my CTPSD was worse, so I understood them. That's about marrying the vet. Jeff.
In this, if I found out they'd done something like what you have described,
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. If that was true, yeah, that's I couldn't, in good conscience, stay with a person who'd done something like that, and I don't give a shit about all these old things happen to people during war thing. That situation what you described is crossing a fucking line, no matter what the situation. And I'm waiting for hate comments for that one, but I'm sorry, that's how I feel about it.
There are lots of people who go to prison and are innocent, and if I had a spouse that went to prison, that's the first thing I would do before I would actually leave them, is to really question the conviction and that sort of thing. After that, it would have to be the severity of whatever they did. Murder, yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I agree.
That was the hypothetical you gave there, though, Dave, was that particular scenario, and you say that they are absolutely guilty, whatever. Yeah, in that situation, yes. But this is like I said, unfortunately, the nature of this question is, would you leave someone immediately if they went to prison? And again, it was going to come down to the circumstance of why they've been locked up, what for, you know.
Yes.
So it's very much a situational thing there.
Yeah, they lock people up for tax evasion.
Yes. Would you leave them for tax evasion?
Probably not.
No.
No.
Right.
Why would you
Not
leave someone
really.
for tax evasion? You know.
No, I know. Not really.
Would it be a your parents' kind of income tax evasion or Donald Trump kind of tax evasion?
Okay,
Donald-
yeah, that's fair.
Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, if we had,
I'm outta here.
I would just pay it off and then be done.
I mean, to be fair, if it was Donald Trump type tax evasion, at least they got some money and you can divorce them.
Yeah, I mean, to have a Donald Trump style tax evasion, they'd basically have to be the same kind of prick that Donald Trump is. So, in which case, you divorce them anyway.
Yes.
But for all the other reasons, not the tax evasion, the fact that they're an absolute prick. So,
Although I can think of a much better punishment for Donald Trump, I just can't say it on the air.
I am so looking forward to him refusing to leave the White House and them sending security teams in to get him and having to taser him. I want that. I want to see.
I'm assuming it would be his own Secret Service that brought him out.
That's going to be like the ultimate sovereign citizen video, that isn't it?
It's going to be brilliant.
We'll see once the new president is inaugurated, he loses all of his. He loses one set of special forces.
But I don't think he needs to be
Secret
inaugurated.
Service.
I've looked into bits of it, and I don't think he needs to be inaugurated.
And that's true, but coups, which is basically what he would be attempting, have very little to do with legal grounds.
No. My point is, I think after the whenever it is that they elect us meet, I think that any real authority could be wielded by Biden.
Well, see, Biden doesn't have any power until after he's inaugurated. Period.
No, I think he does. In terms of a legal sense, no.
The inauguration can happen is not constitutionally required for January 20th. No. They could hold it. They could inaugurate him the day after the electoral college decides.
That's fair.
It's not as simple, especially if Trump.
But they have to inaugurate him before he has the power of the position of being president.
I would think so. The oath of office is sacrosanct.
Yeah, he'd have to.
So he's got to take the oath. Is the point.
I'm actually thinking that unless of course they're not going to give permission to have the inauguration. Trump's not going to give permission to use any White House areas for Biden's inauguration.
Well, they don't. They use the Senate
Capitol, don't they?
Oh, they do too, don't they?
It's nothing to do with
has no say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trump has already said that he wouldn't go to a Biden inauguration.
Does Trump have his own private security at the White House, or is it?
Well, he has the Secret Service.
And then even after he becomes no longer the president, he will still have Secret Service.
Yeah, but they tend to be people who are true patriots, loyal to the Constitution.
Right.
I went and discovered what would. I went and I spent a lot of time trying to find out what would happen if the two were conflicted. If now they tried to arrest Biden, the Secret Service wouldn't allow it.
No.
If Trump tried to do something now to Biden,
well,
the Secret Service
is
would be a
Secret
shootout.
Service protection as well.
Yeah.
They wouldn't allow it at all. Basically, Trump can't do anything to Biden now.
No.
He can't without being at risk of his own life.
Trump is just afraid of seeing all that empty space that was at his inauguration filled up with actual
I know,
people.
And it is going to be.
Do you think Trump is going to trash the White House?
I think Trump is going to burn everything he can to the ground that he possibly can.
That's what I thought too. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind betting he tries to burn the actual White House to the ground or blow it up.
I could see him doing something like crapping in wastebaskets and stuff.
I think he's going to take it. I reckon he'll take a shit in a requisite desk. You know. So.
I think he's going to take everything that he possibly can that's not nailed down as well.
What's it? Resolute desk.
I reckon he's going to slash all the portraits and then hang his own up.
That's terrible. Right,
well,
we need to move on.
Well, one of the things that he's supposed to, well, it's not. It says supposed to, but it's a tradition that presidents hang a portrait of the previous president. He's refused to do one of he's refused point blank to put one of Obama up there.
Are there any pictures of him up?
I have no fucking idea. I've never been in the White House.
I'm guessing he'll put up his own picture.
I reckon he did.
Talking about that, you were curious of what could or would happen, Dave, in the
Yeah.
private chat, I have posted a link to a YouTube channel called The Legal Eagle.
Yes. I think that's
That guy's a lawyer.
Oh, he's good. He's good. I'm aware of it. He's really good.
Yeah. So that is what legally can be done if
yes.
things come to that.
Where'd you post that?
I
the
posted
private
it in the StreamYard chat, but I can post it in the regular chat too for anybody who wants it.
Sam says, to the question, it would depend what they did, but if it was awful enough with no reason, yes. Right, next question. Penultimate question.
What would you do though, Dave?
I think it would depend on the question. Depend on what they've done. If they've done
Which
what
is
you
what
said,
we
you
all
said
said.
yes.
What about the hypothetical you came up with, Dave?
I'd leave them. The hypothetical.
All I can tell you is that my people did not leave me. So.
If you enjoyed that, please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. If you think you've got a better answer or just want to tell us how wrong we are, leave a comment down below. Subscribe down here for new questions every day and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on our live shows. If you click over here, you'll see our latest upload. Over here, for what YouTube thinks you'll love the most. And finally, for a complete playlist of all our currently released questions, click here.